of the Habibis podcast, three game developers drinking good Arab tea. My name is Ramismo, your host for this episode,
And I'm Osama Dorius.
and there's no Fauzi Mismo.
No, it seems like we're taking turns to not show up.
I'm
It's
just
really
here. I'm
sad.
just I'm just chilling.
So far, but you're
I,
a busy man.
I'm a busy man.
The
That's
other
true.
shoe will drop at some point.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna see how far I can get without dropping shoes. You know.
Good, that's a good plan.
But it's it's busy. It's busy times. I think for a lot of people, it's busy times.
Yeah,
Whether there's stuff happening in life or whether there's stuff happening at work, I think for a lot of people, sort of this last year and a half is now like sort of resulting in choices and decisions. I think a lot of us have been paralyzed for a very long time, but by the sort of the state of the world,
yeah. I mean,
it seems
having such a huge change in your life like this helps people like really focus on what's important to them and what they really
right.
want out of life. It slows things down enough that they're able to think. Like for the
Yep.
years and years, people are just on autopilot,
Yeah.
and yeah, now they can get off of that and like actually evaluate their lives and
And I
what's
think we're
important to them.
now we're now at the point where a lot of people are changing that into a action of sorts.
Yes.
So yeah, it makes sense. A lot of people around me are just very, very busy. I've definitely looked at my life and sort of like considered like what do I want to do? What do I want for a future? What do I want? Do I like the place I live in? Do
Yeah.
I like I live here, but do I like it? Um, could I do better? Like I picked up I enrolled again at the flight school. I think I talked
Oh,
about that,
yes,
but
that's exciting.
so yeah, I've got my new first lesson coming up soon. So like it's just you look at life and you're like, what could I do? What do I want to do? And I think for a lot of people, especially in creative industries, that's a very what do you call it? It's confrontational,
Yep,
right?
absolutely.
Because I think if you sort of have the stability of a job that is sort of predictable, then maybe that's different. I wouldn't know. I don't have a job like that. But I think if you're creative, you're already working by such subjective reality, right?
Mm.
That you have to define most things.
Have you heard about? I'm sure you've read something about the brain drain that's currently happening in many. Like it's happening in a lot of fields, but I'm talking about in context of the video game industry specifically. In Montreal, we're seeing something that we haven't seen forever. People
Hmm.
who've been in companies, especially Ubisoft Montreal, because that's like the longest, the
Right,
AAA that's been here the longest and has the most people. But it's not exclusive to them. We're seeing people who've been at the company for 15 or 20 years leave in big numbers,
right, yeah,
and either to go to somewhere else that's starting up or starting their own things, but never to this degree that we've seen it.
right,
And I like it's very. People say it's because a lot of new studios opened up in Montreal, but studios have been opening up in Montreal for the last 10
forever.
years.
Right,
Yeah,
that's not new.
it's not new. The only thing
Right,
that's new is the pandemic. I think people are just reevaluating, like you said, what they want out of life.
yeah,
Are they happy where they are, or like, and it's normal. I'm
right,
happy. Like people are coming to different conclusions,
right.
um, but I'm
It'll
interested to see.
change. Yeah, it'll change things as they are, and hopefully it'll change things in a good way. Only
Hopefully,
one way to find out, right?
exactly. Part of me is a little bit worried about juniors in this situation.
Right.
Oftentimes, they're the ones who get shortchanged
Yeah.
for different reasons, and we can go on about that. But I think it's not really the topic for today. But
Right. I
yeah,
don't think so. We should probably also have a Fauzi for like serious games industry talk.
yeah, that's
We can
true.
do serious life talk. I think the two of us can handle that.
That's true.
We can probably do that. But instead of that, how about we talk some video games
All right. Okay, so let's talk video games.
or
I
or
played.
movies or whatever, like whatever. What did you do this week, Osama?
Okay, well, the big thing that happened, which is extremely exciting, is because like as everyone who listens regularly knows, I moved recently, and I've been opening up boxes that I didn't even
Ooh.
open in our last home, which we were at for like 11 years.
The weirdest loot boxes.
Yeah. So I've been finding things that I love, but I forgot I had. And the most recent discovery was an issue of What If. It's probably the first issue of What If I ever bought. The What If comic, the What If TV show was based on the What If comic books. The
Hmm.
issue I had is about what if the X-Men died on their first mission, and
Right.
what that means for the world of X-Men and Xavier taking blame and all that stuff. So I read through it. And it brought back all these incredible memories, and I it reminded me of like the TV show. Like obviously, that's one of the reasons I was so excited about it, is because I'm reconnecting with that again through the new TV show,
Right.
and I have a favorite episode.
Oh, cool. Because we're now at the time of recording, we are 5 episodes in,
Yes,
right? Yes.
yes, I believe so. And
And I mean,
yes,
this is not like a big overarching story at this point. They're individual episodes. So I
yes,
think we can pretty openly talk about it without worrying about spoilers too much.
I believe so. But I mean, just in
Right.
case,
Oh,
I'll jump into the show notes and if
sure
anything.
thing.
But specifically, my favorite
So wait,
episode.
wait, wait.
Yes,
Spoilers start now.
spoilers start now. Um, my favorite episode, and the What If TV shows don't have titles per se, but it's the episode in which the Avengers start being killed off one after the other.
Right. Right.
And I'm curious, before I jump into it, was that your favorite as well?
Um, I think it might have been. I like that one. I like the Doctor Strange one. I like the T'Challa one.
Yes.
I'm not quite sure if it's in that order, but the assassin one was definitely near the top.
Yes. Absolutely. That one specifically for me, it's everything that's good about What If. It explores an alternate reality if one small thing happened differently, and what that means for the universe. But it also explores people, right? Really,
Hmm.
what makes them tick, who they really are, and how circumstances can change that. And Doctor Strange's episode did that really well as well. But it like, kind of took it to it was a little less subtle. But
Right.
took it to obviously the most extreme that you could potentially
Right.
take it.
I guess with
Um,
Doctor Strange, that kind of makes sense.
yes, absolutely. The this one though, it was just the presentation, the foreshadowing, even when it spoiled it but didn't spoil it, because it was a catchphrase where it's like where Black Widow, before she passed away, she said it's all about hope,
Right.
and I didn't get it. Like I usually am pretty good at
So
picking these hints up, and I didn't get it. I didn't understand what she was
the
referring to.
problem with that one is that I watch everything subtitled, and they capitalize the word hope. Yep.
No. Oh, this okay. You
So I was
didn't
like,
have a chance to be surprised.
okay, it's about hope.
They
Wink.
they should
Uh,
not have capitalized it.
I
That's
guess it kind of works, but then also that is actually what she's saying. Is
yeah.
it's about hope? So
Or they should have capitalized the whole line.
right,
Like she was
but they
yelling it
don't
out
do that.
anyway. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, they don't really do that in subtitling because it's an accessibility feature. So they don't.
Yeah.
They
I
make it what is easiest to read, not what is stylistically most correct.
but
But yeah, so that one was
no.
spoiled for me.
Oh, I see. That's a shame because that was one of my favorite part of that episode. Of
Right?
course, I like at the end when Loki did his thing. I had guessed it like everyone
Yeah,
else. Like it
of
wasn't
course.
that big of a surprise, but I mean it wasn't a bad thing either. Like it was, of course, still not surprising for Doctor Pym, which is what you want. You
Right.
want that part made sense, but that episode was my favorite. I'm curious, like where they're going to take this. I know that the creators of the show said that this show is as important to the MCU as Loki is,
Right.
um, and um, I know that like metaverse things often collapse again
Into
in the
something.
yes, like when I
Yeah.
was mentioning the Exiles in the previous episode, the Exiles, the comic book. Basically, it played out like a what if at the beginning, but then they crossed over into the main timeline.
Right.
So I'm
I'm
expecting that to
I'm
happen.
fully expecting that as well, and I also noticed that Watu, the Watcher, like actually did get involved a little bit,
Yes.
right? So there's definitely shifts in the narrative, and I'm kind of expecting that to continue from here. I
Yes.
will say I'm thinking about it, and I'm starting to realize that the episodes I like best are the doomed universes. It's the ones that are absolutely dead, right? Because
Yes.
you've got the T'Challa one, that one ends poorly.
Yeah.
Then you've got the Doctor Strange one, that one ends poorly,
Yeah.
and you've got the zombie one, that one ends poorly.
Yeah. It's a
But then
trend.
you got, but then you've got the Nick Fury one, the Avengers Die, and that one doesn't necessarily end poorly. It just ends on a question mark.
It ends differently, but it's still
Right.
not better than the mainline
No,
MCU.
it's
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 still
just
worse.
different than the
Yeah.
main line. But I mean, nobody says that he won't be able to get a team together that will save the universe, right?
That's true. But they're just going to
So
be short staffed compared to
they're
the
going to be
other.
short staffed, but at
Yeah.
the same time, they might also attract less attention,
Yeah.
right?
That's true. That's true.
So who knows? Like that is very much a question mark. And then obviously the first one with
It's
Captain Carter,
Yeah. There's like no
uh,
consequence for that one. It's just
right? It's
swapped
just
in one person for another. Yeah.
right. They just swapped two people out.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like it's clear to me that I like the doomed universes better because I guess they have more space. They have more
Yes.
lateral space to do things.
Yeah.
Overall, I just really enjoy the show.
Yeah. I'm loving it, and it really they nailed it. They nailed the spirit of what the What If comics were and what makes them good. So it's very exciting.
Speaking of old things coming back, did you watch the Matrix trailer?
Yes, I did watch a Matrix trailer. I watched it several times actually.
I watched it more than once as well.
I'm super excited. Like the Matrix movie, the first one specifically. Even though I
Is there
did like
more?
the series, but the first movie specifically is so dear to me. I
Right.
don't remember how many times. It was the first DVD I ever owned. To
I
give you an
still, I
idea.
still, I still always like my mind wants to go when somebody says the first Matrix movie. I just want to reject the idea that there's more because I really didn't like two and three.
Yeah,
Um,
I watched them anyway, and I grew to like them a little bit more.
yeah,
But they're still
over
not.
time you
Yeah,
kind of get like, okay, I see what they were trying to do.
yeah,
I still don't think it works, but whatever.
yeah. It's
Um,
especially the third one that
yeah,
disappointed me because the second one came out, and I'm like, yeah, it's not as good as the first one, but the third one's gonna save the day. That's the one that's gonna wrap
right.
it all together, and then it didn't. And
Just straight up didn't. Yeah.
yeah,
No, I think the worst thing about three is that I like sort of like I like how the characters all end up.
yeah, that's
Right? I
true.
like where it ends. I just don't like how it gets there.
Yeah,
It's
I
really
agree.
confusing because it kind of every character sort of does what you feel like they should, except for maybe Trinity.
Yeah,
Trinity kind of gets screwed over,
yeah,
but every other character it kind of ends up making sense in a cool way, right?
it
Like they all end
it
up in a
does.
place that is fair to their arc, and it ends up in a place where they all get to be who they should be, except
It
for Trinity
does.
who gets screwed over.
It's true, but
Um,
now the big question is, how are they going to tie that together with four? I watched
right?
four, and it doesn't add up. And I
Nope.
guess that's part of the exciting part. Is like, what happened in between? What is
Right.
going on? Is he
I'm
back in the Matrix? Is he referencing
yeah.
the Matrix? Is like, does he have his memory? Is this an amnesia arc? Is it
Is
like,
he real?
is he real? Yeah. Is he a spoon?
Right.
What is it?
Yeah. Can we bend him? Uh,
Exactly.
yeah, I'm very excited. It looks gorgeous. Like that
Yeah.
was the main thing. It's like I've wondered before, like what would the Matrix look like if it was made today?
Yeah.
And this seems to answer that question pretty conclusively. Like
Yeah.
pretty,
I mean,
very pretty.
Matrix still was one of those movies that aged extremely well for its time as well.
Surprisingly well, right?
Yeah, you can
Except
still
for the
watch
mouth
it
thing.
now.
The mouth thing is really weird.
It is very weird, yeah. Like,
That's the one thing that's just really. I just watched that. I'm like, I'm not.
yeah,
Just like the weird physics. I've made computer games. I know physics look weird in computers. Like
yeah.
I agree. I'm honestly, if I was in the Matrix and somebody would start flying up because they walked into a building weird, I'd be like, yeah, that's reasonable. So the physics in the Matrix one being kind of wonky, yeah, sure, I'll accept that. But
Yeah,
the mouth thing, I'm just like, no, that doesn't make sense. I don't.
yeah. Well,
It's
in today, like now that we've had a shot at it and we know what it would look like with today's computers, maybe at the time that it came out, it was off-putting,
right,
but for the right
but
reasons, right?
it was off-putting for the right reasons, but also I never believed that scene. I
Yeah,
just
no, I
watched it.
agree.
I'm like, it doesn't. It's and,
Yeah,
and then it was funny because I watched the trailer for 4, and it happens to somebody else,
yeah.
and it still looks bad. I'm like, wow. I guess they're stuck with that effect because they used it in the Matrix 1. But I really respect that they went with the same effect, even though it's kind of
that's
awful.
yeah, that's the Matrix, right?
Right. Yeah, it's exciting to have more of it.
Yes.
Um,
So I also watched Shang-Chi. Remember I
oh no,
mentioned it
I
last
still haven't.
episode?
I still haven't. I still haven't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm
No,
sorry.
so we can't talk about it. Okay,
No.
that is a missed opportunity because I actually was able to watch it before it came out, several days before it came out.
Wow.
Yeah, a friend of mine got Karen. She got me and my wife Nina tickets, so we were able to go see a pre-screening. So I'm like, great! I'm gonna be able to talk about it early on the show, and then we didn't talk about it last week. And then
I'm sorry. I know Fauzi is normally not the person who watches Marvel quickly. I normally do. I just
yeah,
it would be my first time back in the cinema, and I'm kind of
yeah,
still building up the courage
and
to
that's
do it.
totally okay. That's 100% understandable.
But okay, let's try and have it done next week.
Yeah, we'll try. But I mean,
All right.
it's okay. Worst case scenario,
And then we won't be able to talk about it because Fauzi is back.
well, I'm gonna be gushing over it anyway, so that's the only
All right.
spoiler that I'm gonna
All right.
give is that
Cool.
I loved it. Beyond that, we could talk about the details whenever you watch it. There's no rush.
All right. Inshallah soon.
Inshallah. Um,
Uh,
I also played a video game.
what did you play?
I played a game called Recompile.
Oh, nice. Yeah. By Fee Games.
Is that I didn't know who it was by, but yeah, I'll take your word for it. It was interesting. I liked parts of it.
Yeah.
It's like a 3D action platformer Metroidvania type game. But everything is code. Like everything is has the aesthetic of you are in. I guess it's kind of like the Matrix again, but a more abstract Matrix, right?
Right.
You're running around inside a computer type thing. It reminds me of the old TV show Reboot a bit. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, where everything is contextualized with that in mind.
Yeah.
I personally think it was a little heavy-handed when it came to that. Like they actually didn't let you discover um, how they were recontextualizing as much as that they were telling you repeatedly. And this means this, and this means this, and like text
Right.
pop-ups. So I didn't think they could have used a little bit more courage, like allowed people to, if they don't like the way it works with these things is people will feel clever if they discover it.
Right.
And if it feels odd, they'll think they're missing something. So it's fine. You still
Right.
don't lose anything.
Yeah.
And if they don't discover it and it doesn't feel odd, it's fine. That's an opportunity for them to discover it later and be wowed by it. Like, how did I miss this?
Right.
So, like a little bit of I don't want to say courage, but a little bit of confidence in your aesthetic choices and your context sometimes goes a long way. So that's the
Right.
one comment that I'll have is that I think they were not very confident in their theme, and they could have been a little bit more.
Right. Yeah, I think. I mean, I've known this game for very long, and I've known the developers for quite a long time. So it's obviously a little different for me. But I will say the first hour of the game is it's not heavy in a good way.
Yeah.
Right. It's just it takes time to get up to speed. It takes time to get you into the world. The tutorial can break in several weird ways.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen the response has been relatively muted, which is a shame because it is a beautiful sort of like Metroidvania style game. Gorgeous graphical style. Very many particles. So many particles.
But
yeah,
never enough particles, right?
True. This is true. But the game gets really, really fun. It gets really, really interesting. And it just takes a little bit too much time where I almost think that they could have done with the normal Metroid intro where you just have all your abilities and then they disappear.
Yeah.
Just to give you a feeling of where you're going to be, because there's a lot of joy later on in the game to be had with all the abilities and mobility and all the things you can do. So
okay, so I think I might go back to it because I played it for about an hour. That was my fall off point. I thought it was a little heavy-handed at the beginning, same as you said.
It is.
Yeah, and I did like the aesthetic. That's what kept me playing that hour, even though like I did think the tutorials were a little heavy-handed and clunky.
Right.
You know what it reminds me of? Hollow Knight actually had a really slow start for me.
Right, but
it didn't have
Hollow
enough.
Knight the thing about Hollow Knight is that slow start is weird in the because I had the same thing with Hollow Knight.
Yeah,
Right, I dropped off
me
after an
too.
hour until people told me like, "Hey, go back."
Exactly.
But I think Hollow Knight wasn't so much clunky as it was just slow.
Yes, it was slow and incomplete. Like I
Right,
felt, basically what you said about recompile, right? There's something that makes your gameplay fun,
right,
a mechanic or something, and if you introduce that 10 minutes in, 5 minutes in, people are going to tough it out. They're going to be like, okay, what's good about this game? There's a drop off point that different people have, a different threshold. An
right.
hour is a lot to ask of people
Oh yeah, and
these
recompile
days.
isn't at its best yet after an hour.
Yeah,
It,
and
it takes a while.
Hollow Knight also takes several, like 2-3 hours
Uh,
before you
two, three
even get
hours. Yeah.
like an air dash. I
Yep.
think that was the mechanic that turned it around for me, because before that it really felt like an incomplete game. It felt like what are you? I don't have the mobility I need to beat these bosses. They're hard because I can't move around the way I want to. The range is short and I couldn't. So that actually reminds me of that. So
Right.
it's a difficult thing for people to nail. Like, what is it that's special about my game and when to introduce it? Because you don't want to also like give it away too quickly, right?
Right. Yeah, it's a balance, but that's part of the gamble of making a game, right?
Yes,
It's,
absolutely.
it's
I
tough. But
also played this other game. Oh, sorry. If you still wanted to talk
no,
about
no,
your
go ahead. Other game, like, and I think
game.
the thing about recompile is really the thing is it gets good, it gets really good, but it might take too long for its own good, and I think we're both in agreement. So let's swap to something else.
Excellent.
Pretty
Um,
game though.
I play. Yeah, absolutely pretty. I played a little bit of Psychonauts too. I started it. I'm
Oh, cool. What
okay.
did you think?
So, okay, this is gonna be the part where people are gonna crucify me. Um,
Okay,
I played Psychonauts 1. I enjoyed Psychonauts 1. I never
let me
finished it.
grab the cross. I'm just gonna.
I never finished it.
Right,
I played. I don't remember, like 2 or 3 missions, however long that takes. And then something shinier came out. Not that I didn't like it, just something shinier came out, and I moved on from it.
right,
And I'm playing Psychonauts 2 now. I love the aesthetic. I actually like the story. I love the voice acting. I like a lot of the characters. And I'm already feeling that I'm going to drop it again. And I can't explain it. This is the hard part. It's like like all the parts, but it doesn't call, like, when you're on your couch and you're like, okay, I'm going to play a thing. The Psychonauts 1 and 2 don't call me back to play them. They're just
right.
like fond memories.
I I don't think anybody will crucify you for that.
Oh, okay. That I feel
I
better
think
about
most
that.
I think most people agree that Psychonauts is it's partially an acquired taste.
Yeah.
It's very good. I don't think you can argue that it's
No,
not good.
it's
It's
great.
just not. It's just not a game that pulls people in automatically.
Yeah.
And I think most people that play it because they've been told that they should play it all the way through.
Yeah.
Right.
I would agree with that. And it's like, these days with so many different options of games, I don't force myself too much to go back to
Right.
games. Like,
Same.
yeah, if at some point there's a falling off, I make a little bit more effort. I barrel through a little bit, but then there are other options I could be spending my time on. But
Right.
that's the thing. I see the craft in it. I see and the artistry in it, and I love it. I'm a fan of it as a thing more than I am a fan of it as a gamer. If that makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
At least it makes sense to me.
Yeah. I'm gonna get the hate mail. This is the point where I get
This is
emails
where you
now.
get email. You finally get emails. Folks, you can always send feedback about Osama to
Oh
info@thehabibis.com.
no! And especially
Uh,
tell me why I'm wrong. I would love to
yes,
hear your
just
opinions.
or right,
Or
or
right.
right.
Yes,
Yeah,
that
that's
works
fine.
too. Um,
Um,
I
or
played
if
it.
you agree with, Fauzi, please email as well. If you agree with me, just leave it because
Oh,
I don't need to hear that. It's fine.
Fauzi,
Not
if you're
because I don't
hearing
love y'all, but
Fauzi, if you're hearing this, mechanic Khali, we miss you, brother.
we
uh,
really do.
I played
Uh,
another other game. Do you want to hear
okay,
about it?
go.
All right.
Yes.
I don't know if you've heard of this one. It's called Nuclear Throne.
That was Enter the Gungeon clone, wasn't it?
Yeah, clone. Yeah, I guess you could
Yeah,
call it
yeah.
a
It was.
clone.
It was made.
You're being
It was
generous. It's like, it's a sprite swap of it.
right. Yeah, basically it. Yeah, I heard some things about it. It was mediocre, I think. Right?
So it's obviously super biased because I kind of know some people on the development team.
Right, right.
Won't mention who, but I'm a huge fan, and I'm like, I played the PC version quite a bit, like a lot.
Hmm.
I'm not very good at it. I have to
I
be
have,
really clear about that. I've never
I
made it
have,
to the
I have
nuclear
from
throne.
reputable sources that neither is one of the developers.
I wonder which one.
Right.
Um, so I've never made it to the nuclear throne, even when I played it. I played it like maybe 20th, 30th hours on PC, and I just
Hmm.
clocked another 2-3 hours right now on
Nice.
Xbox. I played it because it came out on Xbox, and I'm like, hey, I'm just gonna like jump in for a little bit. Next thing I know,
Wow.
it's midnight.
They sold out to Game Pass, didn't they?
Yeah, game devs, all they care about
Just
is money,
just money.
just
What
money.
a suit.
They don't, they don't do it for the art. But I highly recommend it. It's absolutely my style of game, and
Thank you.
absolutely,
I
um,
appreciate it. I'm
yes,
still very proud of that game, and
you should be.
it was fun to be back in like having to worry about Nuclear Throne and having to care about Nuclear Throne a bit.
Yeah.
Doing the key art for the store and all that, and testing it, and
Is it your favorite game that you've worked on?
no, no,
Okay, that I want to hear.
right. I'm fond of a lot of games we worked on. Obviously, Nuclear Throne was good, and Ridiculous Fishing was good, and Luftrausers was good. But um, I'm really fond of a game I did called Glitchhiker, which was also done with JW, but it wasn't done as part of Lambier. And I don't know, there was something about the idea of it that just really appealed to me. It was a game that could die.
Huh.
So instead of the players having lives, the game had lives. And then every time a player played, they could lose a life of the game. And as the game got less lives, it started to glitch and break. And
Huh.
eventually, when it hit to zero, it became permanently unplayable. So you can't play that game
So
because it's
your
dead.
so your favorite game that you've ever worked on is one I could never experience and give my opinion on.
And I think that's why I love it so much is that the idea of a dead game doesn't really like we have the idea of a game that is no longer playable for business reasons.
Hmm.
Right? MMORPGs, we have ideas of games that are no longer playable for technical reasons,
Hmm.
right? Like the source code got corrupted or
Yeah.
whatever. Nobody has a copy of the game anymore. But there's not a lot of games you can't play anymore as part of its design.
By design, yeah.
And just that we came up with that as a bunch of students for a game jam and implemented it and made it work and had like people really fighting to save the game back then. Uh, I still think that's really cool.
That is intriguing. Can I at least like watch videos and find out what it
Yeah,
is?
there's a video of it somewhere.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up. That's
But yeah,
not the answer I expected, to be honest.
it's really weird because people always think that my favorite game would be Luftrausers or Ridiculous Fishing or Nuclear Throne, but I think the two favorite games I've did were Yeti Hunter and Glitch Hiker.
Huh.
And
Bef-
Yeti Hunter was a game about hunting a Yeti, but there is no Yeti in the game.
Hmm. Hmm.
So because the Yeti doesn't exist.
Except for like one out of every 1,000 playthroughs or something, right?
Exactly. It did a hardware check, and some computers could get the Yeti, and it was pixeled at like slightly the wrong resolution, courtesy of Paul Veer, the pixel artist that we worked with a lot. So even when people took screenshots, people were calling them out for photoshopping it in because
Wow.
it was in the wrong pixel size. But that was intentional as well. So it was just a really fun project, and I kind of like when games play with the form of games.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, a huge fan of things like the Stanley Parable
Yeah,
or the Beginner's Guide.
yeah,
Huge fans of games that want to talk about how they're games, right? And
absolutely.
what games can be, what games are not, or what they could be. I think that's really cool when people sort of like meander into that line. And yeah, I've done it twice in my career, and both times I was very, very pleased with it.
That's incredible. I was gonna say my favorite game that you worked on before Nuclear Throne became my favorite game was Super Crate Box.
Right? I think a lot of designers would pick that one
Yeah,
because it was extremely elegant.
exactly.
Um, I think the thing I like most about it is just remembering how it came together from what was originally a pretty straightforward game with a clever idea of collecting weapons for points.
Hmm.
And I think the sort of the core conceit was, how do we stop people from just grabbing the best weapon, standing in a corner and getting points? And JW sort of came up with the idea of the crate mechanic, and then from there, it had to crystallize a little into there only being one crate instead of multiple crates. But um, it came together really fast, and it was very clear that it was good. And it sort of defined Vlambeer for years, so it was really fun.
Yeah, I loved it
I
for
think,
this for a lot of the same reasons that I love fighting games, even though it was not a fighting game. It's
right,
it's not a competitive game, but like you said, it's incredibly elegant. There are very few moving parts, and you're able to focus on the gameplay itself. And I'm a huge fan of random in games.
right,
Uh, Very big fan, and I know that's an acquired taste. Like when I play Overwatch, and I love playing Overwatch. My favorite mode in Overwatch is Mystery Warrior or Mystery Heroes, where
right,
every time you die, you spawn as a random other character. One of
right,
my favorite ways to play fighting games is actually just a random. If there's a random button,
right,
you better bet that's the one I'm going to be pressing, and it puts me at a disadvantage at first because I don't know who I'm going to be playing with.
right. But over time, you have a better feeling for every single one of the heroes.
Exactly.
Right,
I just love that. I just like
right,
rolling a thing and seeing what I come up with and making the best with what I have.
for sure.
And your
Spe-
games generally tend to do that. So,
right. Speaking of random, I played a game.
oh, okay, that's
It's a new
very random.
WarioWare.
Wait, what?
The new WarioWare.
Oh, it's out.
It's out
I didn't even
since
realize it was
the
out.
10th, I think.
Oh, okay.
Um, the the demo came out a while ago,
Yeah.
right? And I talked about that a little. How I didn't feel it did WarioWare right,
Okay.
because WarioWare to me is about playing different games where you see what buttons you can do, or you kind of have a feeling for the limited input that you can use,
Mhm.
and you have sort of a clear goal communicated to you, and then you figure out how, with the input you have, you can make that work, right? And some games you're tapping arrows, some games you're trying to do precision, games you're trying to bounce a ball, some games, but that's the fun of it. You get, like, here's the game, you get 4 seconds done. Okay, here's the next game, you get 6 seconds done. Here's the next game, you get 4 seconds done, right? And that's it. And this WarioWare did something really odd. It's working from characters.
Hmm.
So every game has like a goal, and then you've got these different characters that can be in that game. And
Is it the
the
entire roster that you could choose each time, or
there's
do
a
you have?
there's different modes, and sometimes you're stuck with a character for a while. But
Okay.
every game, as far as I can tell, every, if not most of the games are solvable by each of the characters. And each of the characters has their unique mechanics and moveset.
Mhm.
But that's not why I play WarioWare, because now I have very consistent mechanics and very consistent input, just different challenges with that character.
Mm.
And that's not actually why I want to play that. I want to play, I want to not know what I have to do. But if I see a character, I know what that character can do. I have an idea of what the moveset is, and I have an idea of what I'm trying to do. So that sort of like joy of figuring out the mechanics is kind of gone, because it's the same mechanics every time.
Yep, that makes sense.
So I don't like it.
Yeah, and
It's really
you
sad.
still don't like it, even like after playing the actual game. They didn't redeem themselves. They didn't have anything
Nope.
in there
No,
that.
it's exactly what I feared, is that they focused on the characters, and that is not why I play WarioWare. I play WarioWare because I want lots of fun, little, smart, interesting, interactive vignettes.
Hmm.
I don't play it because I want the same character to go through 30 of those vignettes and then go with a different character and realize I can also solve it with them, because it just means that most of the challenges have to be sort of generic.
So what you're saying is, I've never played a WarioWare, and this should not be my first WarioWare.
I would not recommend that as your first one. No,
Okay,
I
that's
would
fair.
take the Game Boy Advance one, or play Spookware, which I've mentioned now
Yes, you
3 episodes in a row or something. But
have.
I still think it's incredibly good.
Yeah, it's on my list. I'll get there. But my next
Good.
game is already spoken for.
Okay.
I'm waiting. It's going to be a couple of days from the recording of this episode, but it should already be out by the time that this episode airs. I'm waiting on the edge of my seat for Deathloop. Uh,
Right.
and I'm super excited about the game. Ever since the first trailer dropped, it looked like it had a lot of style, and it looked like the
We'll probably talk about this one a lot next week, won't we?
yes.
Because
I bet
I'm definitely downloading it.
yes. You know what I appreciate about it, and this is now I'm gonna get hate mail for saying this, but
So, people, if you want to email Osama with your opinions, please email info@thehabibis.com.
okay, this is a very unpopular and very privileged position. I get that. But I'm super happy that I don't have to do the which platform am I going to buy this game on thought process because it's exclusive, timed exclusive to PlayStation 5. So
Right,
that's, like it's a small thing, but it's a big thing for me because I get a little
right.
bit of anxiety. I'm like, is it better on Xbox? Is it better on PlayStation?
Xbox gamers, please email Osama at info@thehabibis.com.
But that's the thing. I'm a both. I
Right.
don't have any like yeah. That's what makes it hard. Is I'm platform agnostic. Anyway, that's it. That's not gonna stop the hate. Is it? yeah, it's out.
Info
I
at
don't.
thehabibis.com is all I'll say.
It's coming out on Windows as well, but it seems like the type of game I would rather play on a couch with a
Same.
controller.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. Speaking of Xbox, I played the Artful Escape.
I heard good things.
It is. It is. It is. It is. It is. It is. There's nothing that I like it a lot.
Okay.
I like it a lot. It's very good, but it's really hard to describe because it's effectively like a 3 to 4 hour. I think I'm not sure, but probably something like that. It's a 3 to 4 hour visualizer trip
Interesting.
with cool music and sort of a story about overcoming expectations as a creative person. And it's not very video gamey. There's a few sort of like QTE events that you can't fail. There's a bunch of jumping where if you fail, you just go back like 3 seconds and it doesn't really matter much. And there's a few video gamey things that are just sort of part of the narrative.
Okay.
And that's it. Beyond that, you're just walking to the right and holding the button for guitar.
Interesting.
That's
So
it. There's
it
literally
wouldn't
nothing
be-
else.
So this doesn't sound like it's fun in the traditional way, but
Nope.
you seem to like it, so it's still enjoyable.
Love it.
Okay.
Adore it. It's very good. You know how game design usually is sort of like the foundation of a video game?
Yeah. Not this one.
You never get to see it isolated as like an accent. Game design is usually the flavor, and the narrative is the accent. This is narrative is the flavor, but the game design is the accent. And you see that in smaller games, right?
Yes.
You see it in experimental work a lot. You see it in small indie games a lot. But at this level of polish,
Yeah.
and with this amount of content, it's really, really rare.
So you know what? That is what I wish Greece was. Remember, like
Right.
GRIS, not
Yeah.
Greece, like the John
The movie.
Travolta movie.
Yeah. I mean, I personally also thought that could have done with a bit more game design, but you know.
I thought the other way around. To be perfectly
No, I
honest.
mean the movie.
Oh, the movie, yeah.
Come on.
So I loved Grease. It was still
Right.
one of my games of the year it came out. But I felt that for a game that was so beautiful and artistic, it had too many difficult puzzles that just took me
Right.
out of the experience because I had to like double back and figure out what I did wrong, and that wasn't why I love puzzle games, but that wasn't why I was playing that game.
Right.
And
Go play the Artful Escape. It sounds like it's exactly up your alley.
I am really eager. Okay, it's on my list.
It's
After
not
Deathloop,
super
though.
long. It's not super long. It's 3 to 4 hours. It is absolutely gorgeous. It is encouraging, which is really rare for games right now.
Wow.
It's just a really, really fun, really. Yeah, it's not often that I don't really have words to speak about a thing like ready, but with this one, definitely.
I'm very, very excited to
Beyond that,
give it a shot.
Flight Simulator has a new update, so I played that.
Yeah, what's the update?
They updated Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, I think,
Okay.
with better stuff. So there's just more to fly around. I didn't fly in any of those countries, but you know there was a new update, so it was a good excuse to play more Flight Simulator. and Destiny keeps being extremely extraordinarily good this season. Just
I have to jump back in.
staggering levels of good.
I
Uh,
got bitten by the Call of Duty bug. New season came out, and
I'm not judging you. You just said you'd play some Destiny with me, and
I know I
here
played
we
once.
are.
We'll
Right?
make a
Yeah, you
second
played
time very
once.
soon.
Come on, inshallah, inshallah.
Inshallah. I had a huge life change happen recently where, it's hard to
Right,
schedule around that. So most of my
right,
gaming
for
happens
sure.
between things.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. You have
Yep,
to um you have to
sure.
forgive me, Remy.
Come
um
No, but if you want to come back, like, let me know because I'll happily run you through. I've been running a lot of people through it. It's honestly it's a golden time for Destiny. A lot of people are hopping on board because there's a lot of big story changes coming up,
yeah,
and this is sort of like the intro to those changes. So if you still want to feel part of like this evolving narrative, now is a really good point to hop in before everything changes. So
absolutely.
uh,
I intend to. So let's see
well, it's
if
just
I
an
can.
ongoing narrative. So if you miss it, you miss it. It's
Yeah, you
خلاص.
could get to watch it on YouTube later and feel bad
Yeah,
about
is
life.
that the same though?
Oh
Is
no,
that
no, no, absolutely not the same. I'm just saying,
yeah,
you could still get it. It just won't be the
for
same.
sure. I mean, I've done a 75 tweet summary on Twitter if you want to read it.
I love how that's a summary.
That is actually a summary.
I
It's
believe it.
it's really funny because it's also very popular, which is funny. It gets linked around like by a lot of people. It's a really weird tweet in that the tweet itself doesn't have a lot of retweets or likes or anything,
Yeah,
but the impressions number on it is completely off the charts.
yeah.
It's like my third most seen tweet in the past 6 or 7 months, even though you wouldn't tell it from the numbers on the tweet from the outside, which is like it's probably just getting passed around on like Reddits or in like Discord
Wow,
conversations or something,
that's really
which
interesting.
is cool. Yeah, it's been fun. It's been interesting. I mean, I have my favorite lore people in the Destiny community that I follow and that I listen to, and it's funny to think that I might be that for some people now, where they're like, "Oh, you should check out this person's Twitter lore, Destiny lore." And then I made a mistake in it, so I'm a little embarrassed. So
Did you
it
correct
is
the
what it is.
mistake?
It's Twitter, so I put a tweet at the end with it. But also, this thing might not actually be correct.
That's enough.
Yeah, still feels a little bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't know. It's been a good week for gaming. I've also continued Judgment again, so that's good.
Yeah.
So all in all, there's just a lot of good stuff.
For me, it felt more like a week of catch up because I've been like, living out of boxes and moving things for the last couple of weeks.
Right.
But I'm super excited about all the games that are coming out soon. So that part is true. It is a good time to be a gamer. Probably the best time ever to be a gamer.
It's been a lot of that the last few years, honestly.
Yeah.
Like we've had really, really, really good. We have an Alan Wake remaster. Like, come on, they have this perfect thing going on. If there is interesting new stuff happening, there's stuff happening where existing games get updated or
Yes.
upgraded or
KOTOR
um,
is that for me because I
Knights of
never
the Old
finished
Republic.
so
Right,
like that game for me. I don't know, like it's some people's favorite game of all time. I had missed it when it came out, and I tried
right,
to play it way, way, way later, and it was hard. Like like the interface was rough, and I had already played other games that were. Similar but better at that point, so like I kind of fell off it. So when the remaster, it's like I am the target audience for that. I know I'm gonna love the game. I love everything about it already, but I didn't get a chance to enjoy it when it first came out.
right. Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously excited to see it. Um,
I love remaking like games, and
it's
games are,
nice to see at the moment.
yeah, they don't always succeed. Sometimes they
No,
miss the essence of what the game is, but like I love when it happens. I love to
right.
actually be able to go and have an opinion if it's better or worse.
Yeah, I think that's, and I think especially right now, it's just one of those situations where we're at the start of a new console generation, right? And not everybody has completely figured out what they can do.
Yeah.
We're also at a time where projects are just more and more expensive.
Yeah.
And just for game studios to see, okay, what can we do that is relatively certain,
Yeah.
right? That's good while we figure out how to actually fix the sort of like bigger problem of sustainability. Because we need more time. We just need more time for that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Absolutely.
It's good. I'm just very happy that there's so much like things I love coming back, like Mass Effect, Alan Wake, like. Yeah, I'm Knights of the Old Republic. I like Knights of the Old Republic. I'm not a huge fan. If anybody wants to send hate mail, please send it to info@thehabibis.com.
We're probably going to get a
Uh,
lot of hate mail this week. I'm also excited for Far Cry 6. That's just around the corner.
Just around the corner. Excited about that as well.
Yeah.
I've always been a big Far Cry fan. We once prototyped at Vlambeer. We prototyped a top-down Far Cry battle simulator,
Huh.
or a battle scenario would be the better word. That was really fun.
Yeah. I really like clearing out outposts in Far Cry. It's one of my favorite things.
That is basically, we would generate an outpost.
Yeah, there you go.
And then,
you got it.
yeah, but that's the part. That's it, right? That's Far Cry. Like, yeah, there's all the other parts. There's like the narrative, and but like design wise,
Yeah.
at the heart of it is fun to look at a place, go, I could approach it from here.
Yep.
Then get there and be like, actually, I should probably go around and do it from the cliff over there.
Yep.
And then on the way there is being spotted by somebody and just go like, oh, well, or I can just go in and shoot things.
I still remember the time where like it was a small outpost. It wasn't even important to the story or anything like that. But I remember a point where I was stuck evaluating this outpost that I couldn't figure out how to get in because there was a sniper at a specific point. And even though the sniper was close to an edge that I could have jumped from and taken out, there was another sniper overlooking the first one, and I was like, I don't know what to do. How am I going to get through this?
Right.
And as I'm thinking this, a jaguar or like some kind of like mountain lion jumps up and kills the first sniper.
Right. And you're like, oh,
problem solved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really love those games for that. It's just a fun. They know that the fun part is there. And I think they spend a lot of time on getting that right. There's an absolute art to creating scenarios that are resolvable in multiple ways.
Yeah.
Or not even in multiple ways, scenarios that are designed without a solution.
Yes.
Right? They're designed to be interesting playgrounds, like balanced against the abilities that a player might or might not have.
Yes. And what's really interesting is when certain games can make that feel like a puzzle, even though clearly it wasn't.
Right.
What's the game I'm thinking of? The ones from the makers of why can't I remember the name of that game? It's the game where you send mechs on a grid and you fight
Into the Breach.
bugs. Into the Breach. That's the one.
Mm-hmm.
Frick, the name escaped me. I spent countless hours on that game. I absolutely loved it, and one of the most incredible things about it is that each level was so balanced so perfectly. It felt like I was solving a puzzle, but I wasn't.
Right.
It wasn't.
Right.
It was just elements that were there, and you could approach it in so many different ways. And I'm still in awe of how they were able to accomplish this.
Yeah, Subset is very good at that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm also excited for Metroid Dread.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think you said that last week as well. I think you're going to be saying that a lot.
I'm going to say that every week until it comes out.
Just every episode. We're just going to... It's the Metroid Dread segment. For people that don't like Nintendo, you can send complaints to info@the...
This is the week. Fauci's going to come back and be like, why did we get all this mail?
Why do we have 75 emails?
What's going on? It's too good.
But... yeah, I mean, I know what the title for this episode is. Like that.
Oh no!
It's gonna have to be please email info. There's no way we can't make that unless we're not allowed to put an email address in the podcast title. But.
I love it. That's perfect.
Fuzz isn't here once, and it just this happens.
It falls apart. That's why we need him. He's the glue that binds us together.
He's the balance.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I don't know. It was a good week. I honestly didn't have a lot of time to do other things. I've been busy with work. I've been busy playing games. There was a birthday that I had to, not mine, but somebody close. So I did that. It's nice to feel sort of like things might be more okay again.
Yeah,
But you know, in the back of your head that they're not okay yet. You
yeah.
know,
That's actually one of the things I'm struggling with right now is really getting this itch for travel. Like it's been
right?
too long. I
Yep.
don't remember the last time I've gone this long without stepping
Traveling.
on an airplane. And I do
Right.
understand that that's an incredible privilege, but it's still a feeling I can't shake.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm double vaxxed. I would follow all the procedures, and I still don't
Right.
know if I'm
Yep.
comfortable
I mean,
doing.
I have the same thing with the cinema here, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like, it feels gratuitous to go to a Marvel movie while this is still going on, somehow in the country.
yeah. And to
At
be
the same
fair,
time, you also can't sort of like self punish yourself for the state of the world, but also you have to be considerate of the people around you. And
yeah,
how do we balance? Like, these are there. It's a strange situation.
they do in the theaters. I felt they do take extra measures. There's seating in between, and I
Hmm.
still felt like there were way too many people indoors for what I
Right.
was used to. Like way too
Yeah.
many.
I mean, I also want to watch Free Guy,
Yeah, I haven't seen that either. It's been on my
and
list.
it's on my list, but it's the same thing where I'm like, I look at the cinema, I'm like, I'll wait until this movie is almost out of cinema and nobody's going anymore,
Yeah, and then you go on
and
a
then I'll go.
Saturday at noon or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
Or exactly not on a Saturday at
oh
noon.
like
I'll
a
go on like
Wednesday.
a Tuesday.
Yeah.
So fun note, in the Netherlands, Wednesdays tend to end early.
Oh, interesting.
Schools like close at like noon instead of near the end of the day, or at least elementary schools. So a lot of parents take like Wednesday afternoon off
Oh,
from work. So all days that aren't weekend or Wednesday, and then in the
interesting.
middle of the day, I
Okay,
would go.
because here Tuesdays are traditionally half off movies, so Tuesdays are actually
Oh,
just as busy as the weekends.
wow. All right.
Yeah,
I can see that. Tuesday is sort of like the not cinema day.
exactly. So they want to
Right.
encourage more people to come, so they make it half off. That's why I avoided when I was in college. I went every Tuesday because
Right.
I needed to save money,
What?
and then later I avoided Tuesdays because they were the
Right.
worst.
There were all these young Osamas trying to watch the movie for cheap.
Exactly. And
Horrifying.
overly crowded and long lines
Right.
at the concessions, you're going to get bad seats, all the bad things. So
I
I'm happy Tuesdays exist. But
I remember Montreal cinemas being sort of like Dutch cinemas. They're quiet cinemas, right?
yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Why?
People don't talk.
Are there loud cinemas?
Oh yeah, the U.S. has loud cinemas. Some of the Middle East has loud cinemas.
Oh,
Like
I'm not
there's
surprised about the Middle East having loud
right,
cinemas.
right. But yeah, I was really shocked by that because I'm in the Netherlands, cinemas are still very like intermission and be quiet.
There are intermissions like
Oh
in the
yeah,
movies, like
yeah,
they
in the middle
kept
of the
that. I
movie.
know because I
Hmm.
I've watched older movies that actually have the intermission pause
In
like
there,
in there. Yeah, like
yeah,
I can't. I'm trying to remember which movie I bought. I think it was Seven Samurai, where the intermission actually lasted 15 minutes. Like it lasted the
right.
length.
Yeah,
It wasn't like pause here, go come. Like we're
yeah.
no. It lasted 15 minutes, and then the movie
Wow.
resumed. So I'm aware of the concept, but I don't think I've ever been in a theater
Yeah.
that
So
had
in the
an intermission.
Netherlands, frequently what they'll do is there'll be a certain scene cut at which they stop the movie, and then for 15 minutes you can go grab a drink or get
So
some food, go to the
considerate.
restroom,
I love it.
and then come. It's honestly when I started traveling, I kind of started hating it, and then when I traveled more, I started loving it again.
Yeah.
Because there's something about watching a movie in one go, right? It's you stay in the movie more, and you don't get pulled out. You don't get like that sort of reset in the middle of the movie, and a lot of movies can really use that momentum, right? So they have specific halls now that are no intermission halls. So
Interesting.
for a Mad Max,
Yeah.
I'll watch it there, right? Because the
Yeah.
latest Mad Max movie, you don't want to break in the middle of
No,
that.
you
You
don't.
wanna you wanna hold your breath
Yeah.
and then keep holding your breath until the movie is done,
Yeah.
right? But for most movies, I just want to not have to feel like when you sit down at a movie and you have like the big cup of soda and you
Yeah.
drink it and the movie's 5 minutes in and you're like, oh, I need to go to the restroom,
Yes.
and you just sit there going like, for is the scene after this scene going to be important?
Yeah.
No, I don't think. Maybe, and then you come back and like everything's exploding. You're like,
Yeah.
what did I miss?
I know that feeling. Multiply that by like 5 if you go to the
Right,
movies with your kids, where
right,
where every 10 minutes a different person needs to go to the bathroom. When you come
right,
back, you're like, I just watched Swiss cheese. I have no idea what's happening anymore.
right. So in the Netherlands, you can just wait for the intermission,
Yeah, exactly.
which is halfway through the movie, and for most movies, that's an hour to 45 minutes. So you just go, okay, I need to make sure that I don't have to be within the next hour, and then we'll be fine.
That's incredible.
Uh,
I'm jealous.
it's really nice. It's very helpful. Plus, I get to get more snacks because I will usually finish my snacks before the movie starts.
Hey, Rami, I just got a great idea. Do you want to add a 15-minute intermission pause to this podcast in
Yeah,
the middle of just dead air?
just nothing.
Nothing.
It's like a little elevator music.
That'll definitely get us emails.
Yep. If you like that idea, please email us at info@thehabibis.com. But now I've got a voice for this. This is great.
Yeah, you got it.
Like I got like a email us here voice. It's funny. I've never done reading much as a thing, right? Like I speak a lot,
Mm.
but reading is new. And recently, I read that 75 tweet thread on Destiny for a YouTube video because there were a lot of people that were like, "I don't want to read 75 tweets. Can't you just like do a video of that?" And I'm like, I can find somebody with a good voice, a good reading voice, or I can see if I can do a good reading voice. And the answer is no. The answer is I can do an okay reading voice, but it took me like the first half of the video to get to it.
Yeah, it's an art.
Maybe if I practice more. Yeah, I look forward to practicing more.
It's
might
hard
be
to
fun.
be consistent if you don't do it in one sitting too. I've listened to a lot of audiobooks where
Mhm.
like they're professional voice people, and you could tell when the edit when it goes from I just recorded it like to this was recorded a week later, and
Right.
that always pulls me back for just a second.
Right.
I'm like, oh no, you should have just
Yeah.
played it back and then matched the voice.
Should
But
have
it's
just
hard.
put a 15-minute intermission there.
Exactly. I wouldn't have noticed after 15 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know. It's fun, but I don't know. I feel like these kind of things are just things you kind of learn over time. I'm sure I'll have opportunity to read more in the future for something. Although I don't think it's going to be 75 tweet Destiny stories. You know.
Yeah. Have you ever given a talk where you had to have everything memorized instead of just winging it?
Yeah, but nobody can tell the difference.
Okay, that's impressive when nobody can tell the difference. Because with me, I think they can.
Hmm.
I've only had to do it one time. Like every other presentation I give, I write bullet points. I have my slides, and I just talk
Right.
over them.
Right.
I wasn't allowed to do that when I gave my TEDx talk, which is something I'm
Right.
not sure if people are aware of.
Right.
In TEDx, it has to be vetted, and you have to have it written word for word, and you're encouraged not to deviate. Like one or two misdropped words or changed words is not the end of the world, but they like really highly encourage you to memorize your talk. And there's
Right.
an art to memorizing a talk and delivering it as if it's not
Right.
memorized. You have to
I-
actually throw in pauses as if you're reflecting and thinking about the next word.
Right.
And
I can do that.
Yeah.
I'm good at that.
Good.
I've done auto cue before, and I can make that look very seamless. Right.
Good.
But
Because that's a skill
uh,
too. You have to practice that.
yeah. I think because most of my talks are sort of like Lego blocks
Yeah.
of segments that I do.
Yeah.
Delivering them in such a way as if that makes them feel natural and that makes them feel like they're in a flow of a talk. That really helped with that.
Good.
So you become a bit of an actor, which is fun.
But you have to do it. That's the problem. Is if you don't do that, even though it's going to be more genuine, I guess, because you're not adding all that acting in, it's going to feel more stunted. It's going to feel
less genuine.
Less genuine. Exactly.
Right.
People are not going to
Yeah.
enjoy it as much. It's very
Funny how that works.
Yeah.
People are weird. We're
Yeah,
weird.
we are.
This whole species is a mess.
We pretty much are.
But it's fun.
Yeah.
I enjoy those kind of like little I mean, I'm a game designer. Of course, I enjoy those psychological
course.
tricks. Like we're exploiting them 90% of the time for our job.
Exactly. Oh no! Now we're gonna get hate mail for sure.
If you hate all game designers, please email us. Actually, just do not email us.
You know what? We should just like cancel the email. This
Right,
is the
just
week
no-
to do that. We don't have one.
you're just gonna you're gonna to ask people to not send emails, and then Fauzi's never gonna believe it. He's gonna come back and be like, Osama said no emails.
No emails.
What do you mean no emails?
Yeah, it's tradition.
Yeah, it's important. Well, it's my episode, so I'm going to be shutting it down in like a second. Not you, so you don't get to do the email transition. I'm sorry.
Oh, can I do it anyway? Can I jump in and just be like, emails? All right.
Sure. All right. Well, how about you start with that, and then I'll do the proper sign off.
All right. Send us emails at info@thehabibis.com, especially things relating to this episode. But make sure you reference Fauzi. Send them to Fauzi.
Mostly to Fauzi.
That'll add to the confusion. Right. Take it away, Rami.
If you missed Fauzi on this episode, please email us at info@thehabibis.com. This was another episode of the Habibis podcast. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening in. It was a little odd doing it with two. It was odd doing it with two.
Yeah.
Without you, it's also odd doing it with two without Fauzi. But it's good to know we can carry an hour.
We can.
Like
we
that.
can.
We can. We're not.
Yeah, we can throw in a guest here and there if someone misses.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, let's just get Fauzi back.
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
Good. Anyway, thank you so much for everybody listening, and we'll talk to you. Yeah, I guess it's talk to you, huh?
Yeah.
We'll talk to you next week.
Talk at you.
Wow. Talk at you next week.
Salam.
Salam. You think Fauzi's going to listen to this episode?
I don't know. I mean,
I don't know either.
I assume that we all listen to the episodes after they air, right?
Yeah, I think so. But also, he's very busy.
He is, especially now, right?
So we don't make up stuff. It was a great episode. We talked about dinosaurs a lot.
Oh, pick a title that's completely confusing to him. You did it to me.
Please email us at info@thehabibis.com. Sounds like pretty good.
It is a pretty good one. You can also call it 15-minute intermission. That's right.